Frankie Dettori, ladies and gents. I think many of you will know him, even if you don't follow horse racing. He's probably the most well-known jockey in the country, or maybe even the world at the moment. He retires later this year. You may have read it, you may not have. But if you've not, I'm telling you, he retires later this year. Anyway, seen him in the press yesterday. I actually seen him about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. They did a little programme on him leading up to his last ever Royal Ascot, because he rode at Royal Ascot this year, was very successful. They did a programme on him. They went to his home in Newmarket, a sprawling place, lovely, lovely place, modern but lovely. And he actually mentioned at the time about trophies. He's got trophies everywhere you can see, and he says, honestly, I've got rooms filled with them in boxes, in lofts. I've got that many, I can't cope. I think he's even got a trophy display room. It's not big enough to display everything he's won, because he's won that much over the years, and he's had a really long career. He's had probably a 35, 40-year career, which is almost unheard of. And he said, I've got trophies coming out my years, I just cannot cope with them. It's a shame, really. Anyway, on the back of that, I noted yesterday in the press, or day before, he's actually sending lots of these trophies now to an auction, because he's moving house soon. He's going to move from Newmarket to London, probably to get nearer London for even more media works. He's going to do a lot of media stuff in the future, I would guess. And he's going to sell a hell of a lot of trophies, a hell of a lot, a massive, massive haul. They're going to go to an auction house, and they're going to be bid for online over the space of a week or so in the very near future. And what he's decided to do is going to give a lot of the money that he makes from this trophy haul to a charity. Now, the charity is, I think it's an African charity that was set up by a great friend of his and a mentor of his in his early racing career, a guy called Barney Curley. If memory serves, and I might be wrong, but I think I'm right, I seen something on Barney Curley 3 or 4 years ago talking about this charity that's really dear to his heart. I think Barney lost a son very, very young, and when he lost this son, I think Barney turned to religion in a big way and realised he'd been successful in life and he'd done well for himself, and he needed to give back. And to that end, he set up this charity in Africa, a wonderful charity that I believe built schools in Africa, brought water to places that didn't have it. He did really well, but more importantly, more than giving the money, he gave his time. He went over there 3 or 4 times a year whenever he could to actually physically help building these things and doing these things and seeing the money went to the right places. Wonderful man, wonderful for what he did, absolutely wonderful. Anyway, on the back of that, Dettori has realised since he's retired and selling these trophies that because Barney was a mentor to him in his early life and used to put his arm around him, he's going to give some of the money towards the charity. Which initially I thought, well, that's good, that's nice to hear, you know. But then I read on and I start thinking, I mean, the house that he's got in Newmarket, I think he built it in 2019, it's a sprawling place, viewers, and I mean sprawling. I think it's set in 5 acres, it's got massive driveways, it's got its own paddocks, it's got barns, it's got the lot. He's not going to sell it, he's actually going to rent it out. You'll never guess what he's renting it for. £15,000 per month. Not per year, per month. Gives you an idea of how big it is. And no doubt he'll get takers. It's a monster place. Now, I looked at that and I thought, 15 grand a month just for renting out. And you've won all that prize money over 35 years. Now, the trophies are all well and good. Some of them will be worth a lot of money. The better ones are real good until they're kept. But even a lot of the ones he's selling off will be worth a lot of money. They'll be made of silver and cut glass and whatever else. But when he's been presented with these trophies, he's also got the winnings, the money, the ACCAs, as well as the trophy. And the ACCAs are a lot of money in horse racing. He's on like something like 7, 8, 10% of all the winnings. And the races Frankie wins tend to be the big races. He's a big race jockey. He'll have earned an absolute fortune over the years. Or again, I'll use the term because Kim Woodburn draws it regularly. I've started to draw it now. He'll have earned shed loads of cash. And I thought to myself, Frankie, why on earth are you going to give some of that money towards charity? Give it all, man. Give it all. If Curley could give the bulk of his money away and constantly raise money for the charity and regularly go over there and try to physically help them to get things done, surely you can give all that money away. It was money you didn't have, money you don't need, for trophies that you just kept in boxes because you never approved them, so they never saw the light of day. You've won the prize money. You're worth God knows how many million. Give it them all. It will make you feel better. Whatever you give will make you feel good. If you give it all, it'll make you feel better. But I'll tell you what it'll do. For those young children in Africa that have got no schooling and got no school to go to, or maybe have no water or decent food or decent drugs and medical help, it'll mean the world to them, and I mean the world. You'll feel better for it, and you won't have to give the ultimate prize of going over there on a regular basis and getting your hands dirty. You won't be doing that like Barney did. So the second best thing you can do is give a lot of money rather than a reasonable amount. Give it them all, Frankie. Give it them all. Honestly, sir, you'll feel better, and them kiddies will feel a whole lot better.